Alright, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from Underground Beer Lab, and they're out of East Syracuse, New York, and this is their Hop Theory Hazy IPA number 9. So this is a Hazy IPA that comes in at 6.7% alcohol by volume, no IBUs listed, time of review, and this can is just under 1 month old. So recently I was hanging out at Brewed and Bottled in Lewiston, New York, one of my favorite local bottle shops of choice. Shout out to Chris and Kenny over there. They hold it down. Absolutely fantastic beer. And when I was there, there was a tap takeover for a Canadian brewery called Masorum. And when I was leaving, I wanted to get a mixed 4-pack to go to review some beers. So I asked Kenny, I said, hey, I want some of the UBL beers that you got in recently. So just pick me out too. And this was one of the 2 that he picked out. The other one I think was like a hazy pale ale. I'll be reviewing that in the next week or 2, but I wanted to get to this one because it was slightly older. Still pretty fresh. When I picked it up, it was about 3 weeks old, but just under a month old. And yeah, this is apparently a series of beers. So it's Hop Theory, and this is the number 9 in the series. And the cool thing about it is what we'll read here on the back. It says, Hop Theory is a rotating series of hazy IPAs, Hazy IPAs, Joe, if you could speak, showcasing our ongoing experimentations with hop-forward brewing. And this one is brewed with, wait for it, Simcoe, Columbus, Amarillo Cryo, and Citra hops. So pretty much all old school hops, although Amarillo Cryo wasn't available back in the day, but all 4 hops are old school hops. So when I saw that hop bill, I'm like, I think Kenny picked a pretty good one out because I'm here for it. So basically hazy IPA with like old school hops. I cannot wait to get in this one. So I am going to crack this one open, get in the glass, and we'll go from there. So I'm really excited about this one because of that hop bill mostly. I hope it's delicious, right? That's the whole reason I review beers and try beers and drink beers, is because I want them to be delicious. Do something like that. Oh, hang on. I'm going to have to save it. Oh, no. I've done that like 3 or 4 times recently where I'm like, I get an aggressive pour at the end there. It's like, do I have to save it? I do not. First things first. That looks fucking divine. A 73 finger head because of that aggressive pour. But the body itself has that like hazy, like honey orange color. Old school to me, I like to say like, other have vibes. A lot of Hop Butcher beers from back in the day look like this, although a lot of them look more milky nowadays. But yeah, honey orange for days, sunshine in the glass, can't see through it, murky turbid. Literally a 3 finger, at least my 3 fingers, and I'm fat, so I'm a little bit more like sausage fingers. Maybe a 4 finger for a normal person. But anyway, yeah, it has like this slightly like, I'd say eggshell white kind of head to it. Doesn't look like super creamy, little soap sudsy, but it's not going anywhere. Like it's dissipating a little bit, but it's dissipating from down here. It's still sticking to the top of the glass. Hold it up to light. Yeah, you can't see through that one. So I say as a hazy looks, that is fucking really nice. Really nice. So I'm digging that. Nose. Oh. Wild. And the reason why I say wild is this reminds me of somebody taking an old school West Coast hop bill, or maybe just an old school American IPA hop bill, and throwing it into a hazy. This is not that super juicy candied fruit nose. Fuck no. It has a resinous pine, like a dank resinous pine, almost onion garlic-esque. Yeah, that's wild. A nice floral sensation. But then it does have some of the, slightly juicy, fruitier qualities. I remember this like it was yesterday. The first time I had a single hopped Columbus beer. A Columbus, I think it was an IPA that it was single hopped with Columbus. Was at Swiftwater Brewing Company in Rochester. And I have never to this day have tasted a beer, an IPA, a hop forward beer, that tasted like straight up melon. Not watermelon, but like honeydew and cantaloupe, more honeydew. That beer was so wild, and that was the first time I had an epiphany with Columbus hops, because I'm like, I always thought Columbus was more for bittering and like it was an old school hop, and then no, that beer showed me, holy shit, you can get some fruity goodness out of that. And every time I have a beer with Columbus, I always search for that honeydew cantaloupe characteristic, and that's what's in this nose. It's like a honeydew melon, like an over-ripened honeydew melon, but more if you got to the rind part. So it's not super overly sweet or smells like it's going to be sweet, but it has a nice kind of honeydew melon rind character in the nose. Let's fucking spend a minute and a half talking about, Columbus hops just to tell you I get a little bit of honeydew melon rind. It's the Beer Patrol, baby. We know what the fuck we're doing here. Oh man, it's like dank honeydew melon. Now I'm getting like weed. This is a gnarly beer. Holy shit, this is cool. Yeah, you can see my smile's not going away because this is like giving me PTSD in the best way possible. It's like to me, when I didn't like, why I say PTSD is because I didn't used to like West Coast style IPAs back in the day, and now I love them. And it's just like, it's reminding me of like when I first smelled them back in the day and was like dank and resinous pine and fucking, floral and weed and this and that. But I like that nowadays. So this is awesome. A little bit of like a Tangelo or even like an orange kind of citrus tone. A little bit sweeter, but not over the top, like just like a juicy kind of Tangelo or orange. Maybe a little bit of like a pineapple. It's the Simcoe and the Columbus, I think, that are doing that like danky pineapple, onion, garlic thing. A lot of people with Simcoe get the cattiness, right? Not me. I always just get like a really severe dankness, which is interpreted differently by people in general. So for me, that's what I always get out of it. This smells fucking, for a 6.7% IPA, this is super complex. And it's also just different. I haven't had many hazies that smell like this. I just hope the taste lives up to the nose. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Goddamn. This is a beer that if you are an old school IPA lover, West Coast IPA lover, but you still like dipping your toes into the hazy end of the pool, I think you can get down with this. Holy shit, this has such a floral, earthy, dank dryness to it. And it's also bitter. This is, to me, an amalgamation of like 3 or 4 different styles. Go back in. By the 6.7%, it's fine. It's like medium body. It's cool. The mouthfeel is kind of in between a hazy and an old school beer. It has a slightly softer mouthfeel to it. This is like mild to moderately carbonated, smack dab in the middle, where like something like this, maybe more approaching moderate. So something like this, the look of this, you would think it's softer, and it is, but it's not like super soft. And it has a little bit of smooth creaminess, but it's not over the top. So it's like a nice mouthfeel for a hazy, but also would be a nice mouthfeel for like an old school IPA. So I think that's cool. The taste is fucking just wild. So in the taste, that citrus character that was like juicy navel orange Tangelo, it's more of it hits me right at the forefront. It's more of like a bittering, pithy orange and Tangelo, like more to the rind and the peel itself. Then after that, I do get honeydew melon, and it's a sweet, to me, honeydew melon. You could say cantaloupe. It's, to me, more honeydew, but if someone said cantaloupe, I wouldn't disagree with them. It's definitely melon-esque, not watermelon, though. And it's a little bit sweet after that. That's like the only time I get like any kind of substantial sweetness in this beer. Because halfway, the 2/3 way through the palate, this beer just fucking transforms into an old school beer. Like, the second half of the palate is so different for a hazy that I'm struggling to try to figure out and process what I'm going to say about this beer. I gotta go back in for another sip. Dude, the finish is a combination of straight up marijuana, aka weed. It has a floral resinous pine character. It also has a generic dankness, but you could circle back and say that's the weed character. But it's moderately to a touch over moderately bitter, which is something I rarely say for a hazy IPA. And it's also semi to full on dry. This is one of the driest and bitter, one of the more bitter and dry hazy beers that I've had in a long time. It's fucking delicious. This is kind of what the hell? I don't know if you guys just saw that. I hope you did, because I just poured in a bunch of gnarly grossness. Like there's just chunks of shit that fell out. Now, with everything fully, now look at the head. The head looks fucking, that looks like a nitro beer. That head is so tightly compact and looks super creamy. Anyway, doesn't matter. Not really. Fuck it. Another sip. So, the finish of this one definitely gives me old school vibes, 100%. I think this beer is awesome. And it's 6.7%. And recently I've had a couple 6.5% beers. I had that Badlands and Bellwood's beer, their Big Bad Bells, 6.5%, fantastic. I had the Hammer and Crown, they're All That Jazz, absolutely fantastic for 6.5. This is in the realm of those beers. Like the deliciousness this one is giving off is fucking, it's up there. And what I enjoy about this beer and what I love about this beer is if you're an old school IPA drinker that still likes the new school hazies, but you like more bitterness, more dryness, you don't want just straight on candied, juicy fruit, this would be for you because it definitely doesn't lack in that old school IPA kind of feel. It's 6.7%. You really can't tell at all. No warming in the chest, nothing on palate. I don't really expect that. Sub 7% beers as a whole. I really don't get alcohol at all. One more sip and we're locking a rating. I can't. This is like dank. If there was, I don't smoke marijuana, okay? I do not smoke weed. I do indulge in some gummies from time to time. But if there was like and I'm sure there's all kinds of different strains nowadays, but if there was like a honeydew melon or a melon kind of strain of marijuana, that's what's kind of in for me in here. It's like dank melon, marijuana melon. Like it's so fucking intense on that, especially on the finish. And again, that moderate to touch over moderate bitterness. Like on the back of my palate right now, there's just a lingering dryness and bittering sensation that you don't see in hazy IPA. So this is, again, to me, a true hybrid of a hazy and an old school IPA, whether you want to say West Coast, American IPA, East Coast IPA, any kind of old school IPA. It's a mixture of both, but I think it leans a little bit more to the old school style despite the look of this one. I got to try more in this Hop Theory series because this is fucking awesome and has surpassed and exceeded any expectations I had for this beer. Like the fact that it's just a bunch of fucking different hops on there, and like, there's not like a bunch of like different fruits, and it's just there's like hop saturation out the yin. Let me go one another sip because I don't know. This is a long review. I don't give a shit. It's fucking awesome. This is an awesome beer. Hop Theory Hazy IPA number 9. High 4.5 out of 5. I'm going to go 4. I'm going to go low 4.75. I'm going to go 4.65. Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. I don't know what's going on. This is fantastic. And I guarantee on Untapped, probably nowhere near that. But, you got to go with your heart, even though my heart's not 100% functional. Well, it kind of is, but not really. This is just fucking, this is phenomenal. I love this beer. I wish more hazies kind of brought something like this to the table. Man, I'm just sitting here. It's bitter. It's fucking, it's dry. I want to go back for another sip, so I'm gonna throw this one down right now and go back for another sip because that's kind of what I want to do here. Yeah, it's fucking great. Price point availability: $20 a 4-pack at the brewery. Brewed and bottled, $5 a can. So not any more expensive than what was at the brewery, which is wild because usually when breweries make distribution to anywhere, they're always more expensive no matter where you buy them because, everybody's got to make money. Whoever distributes it, the shop, no, it's $5. And I checked their website and Instagram is $20 a 4-pack. So I didn't pay any more than what I would have paid at the brewery, and I was able to get a single of it. So fucking awesome. So shout out to Chris over there at Brewed and Bottled. Just listen. When I say it's one of my favorite local bottle shops, it's probably my favorite local bottle shop at this point. So if you're ever in the Western New York area, go up to Lewiston. If you're in Canada, hop over the border, go check them out. Lewiston's a fantastic village/city, and Chris knows what he's doing. He's been doing it for many years over there, and it's just support local businesses like that, especially when they're good people. Anyway, availability of this one, I have no idea other than UBL gets distro pretty much through Western and Central New York, as far as I know. I don't know how far outside of the area they get. Do they get like in the New York City and downstate and everything? I have no idea. But if you can get your hands on their beers, they do really good stuff. They've been getting some hype over the last year and a half, 2 years. The stuff I have from them has been really good. This is, again, I think, and I want to keep this in perspective. What I think really makes this beer for me personally is this is kind of what I always talk about. And if you watch the channel, you know what I'm going to say here. This is what I talk about with hazies. I say nowadays when it comes to hazies, a lot of you guys out there love your haze. You want juicy, you want fruity, you want a mild bitterness, you don't want a substantial dryness. You want to drink basically carbonated fruit juice in beer form. I'm all right with that. Everybody has their own palate, their own likes, dislikes. I will never ever tear somebody down for enjoying something they enjoy. It doesn't matter if you're drinking, macro beer, craft beer, whatever the case may be. But for me personally, where my palate is, this is where my palate is. And where that is I want some kind of moderate bitterness and or dryness to offset all the fruity goodness. And this takes it the extra mile where it's like, no, this isn't even that over the top fruity and juicy. This is dank, it's floral, it's earthy. It has an herbaceousness to it, almost like a basil and thyme. I didn't even mention I'm getting that kind of now. It's bitter, it's dry. That's kind of what I want out of these hazies. I want some kind of balance, if not leaning more towards the bitter and dry side of things. And I think this beer has done it extremely well. And this is in that realm of that all that jazz, the aforementioned all that jazz and the Big Bad Bells, but in a different way. Those were more fruity, juicy. This is more dank, herbaceous, bitter, and dry. So that's where this one lands for me, and I think it's fantastic. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section and let me know what you thought about it. If you had any other of these Hop Theory beers, this is number 9 in the series. If you had 1 through 8 or any of them, let me know. Good job, UBL. This is fantastic. And I'm going to go drink the rest of that and enjoy every second. 6.7%. You can't tell. I fucking love this beer. 6.5 out of 4.6, 6.5 out of 5. Fucking math. 4.65 out of 5. To the next one. Cheers.